Hello everyone, it's Lindsay, and today we're going to do a wrap up of the Storyteller devotional kit from Illustrated Faith. Yes, we are like 2 kits now past this one. I am getting all caught up on my kits, and I didn't want to not share with you what I had done through Storyteller. And to be honest, I think it's taking me a little bit longer to work through Storyteller and Heart Layers just because I have a lot to write and journal, and so I'm just a little bit intimidated when I sit down to create, and so it's taken me a little bit longer than it normally does. But I did get 6 entries done in my Bible as I worked through Storyteller. I did work through the entire devotional. I did like journal and take notes and did a little bit more of that in this kit than I typically do, and so I had a lot to say. So I have an unboxing of this kit. If you haven't seen it, I'll link it down below. I don't know that the kit in its entirety is still available over at Illustrated Faith, but you can get bits and pieces, and of course you have the digital option as well, and so I'll have all that linked down below for you guys. So let's dive right in. I'm going to go in order of the entries through the devotional rather than through my Bible, because I wrote down the page numbers this time. So we're going to start with my first entry here is in Isaiah chapter 46 verses 9 through 11. It says, remember what happened long ago, for I am God and there is no other. I am God and no one is like me. I declare the end from the beginning and from long ago what is not yet done, saying my plan will take place and I will do all my will. I call a bird of prey from the east, a man for my purpose from a far country. Yes, I have spoken, so I will also bring it about. And so here is the prologue, and I believe that there is a process video for this entry. I will link that down below. Yes, there is a process video, because now I'm remembering. Janet had prompted us to write the yearnings of our heart down and then crumple that up and throw it away. But I actually kept it as just a little note here in my journaling that I could come back to. And so I will link the process video down below for this one using my paper piecing technique that I have a Tip Tuesday for. I will link that down below as well. And then some stenciling and things like that. So like I said, I will link that one so that you can check that one out. But let's go ahead and hop on over to the second entry. Okay, so my second entry is here in Acts chapter 17, verse 28. It says, for in him we live and move and have our being, as even some of our own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. So Janet prompted us to write down some of the attributes of God that we wanted to work on in ourselves. And so that's kind of what I did for this entry here. And I just use some tile alphas to journal those down. I did use these, let me see if I have them right here. Yes. This little tablet of papers from the Adopt Shop. This was available over on the Illustrated Faith website. I don't know if they're carrying them any longer, but I'll link the Adopt Shop down below as well for you guys. And these are just some library cards printed on front and back, and that is kind of what I used as my journaling spot. And then I used some of the floral paper cut pieces. I think that these came as an add-on with the Wildflower kit. I think these are Paige Evans or Pink Paisley, I can't remember, but there was these floral pieces, so I had those in my stash. I wanted to use those up, so I used a whole bunch of those. I used the alphabet stamp from Jen Scow. I think that she has this, I don't think it's available in the Illustrated Faith shop, but it is available in Jen's shop. So everything that I can find, I will link down below for you guys to where you can find it. I will put it down below. And then this is the mini typewriter alpha stamp from Illustrated Faith. I think that they've relisted this one, I'm not sure. And then in the background, I used a Tim Holtz alphabet stencil, and it's one of these little mini tag stencils, and it has just a whole bunch of letters and numbers. It's like a full alphabet set that's kind of grunge and things like that. And so that is what I used with some worn lipstick Distress Oxide ink blended through as my background, and then just some die cut pieces from the kit itself. So bright and colorful, but this, I really wanted to kind of push myself to use up some of my stash as I worked through this kit, because I'd kind of started to accumulate some things like these die cuts and stuff like that. So let's move on to the second part of the devotional. Okay, so this entry here is in Isaiah chapter 42, verses 5 through 7. And this is the casting call devotional. And Janet's just kind of prompting us, are we so distracted by worldly things that we're not listening to God and hearing when He's calling us to do His work? And that's kind of how Satan works in our lives, is he distracts us. And it's not always bad things like TV and addictions and things like that. It could be good things. It could be our kids in sports and PTA and all these different things that we see as good, but they're distractions from what God is calling us to do. And so we are just kind of prompted to reflect on that. So I did do some prayer reflection here in the devotional. And then for my entry, I actually took some of her words, Janet's words from the devotional, and just copied those directly down in the entry. I do that very often in this Bible. If there are things in a devotional that really stand out to me that I want to remember or to come back to, I'm sure to journal that down onto the page here. So in the background, I just used a grid texture stamp. I will link the one that I used down below for you guys, and that was just the main part of the background. Used some washi tape. I think these ones are from Maggie Holmes, some older collections, and then used some of the big die cut pieces from the kit. And then for this cup, this is the die cut piece, and then I just used a craft knife to make a little slit in the top of the cup, and then I stuck these little stickers down in there so it looked like they were sticking out of the cup. You could also just cut off the bottoms of these stickers and stick them on top of this. You don't have to go through the hassle of cutting a slit, but that's just how I did it, and then some, a sticker from the kit. This is a stencil stamp set that is available. This is the Stencil Alpha. This is back in stock over at Illustrated Faith, so I will link that down below. And then I just used a big brush marker to very loosely fill in with this kind of purpley color, just to pull that purple into some other areas. Did some layering up here with the stickers from the kit and some washi tape, and called it good. So it looks like it's a really, filled out entry, but it's not very many pieces at all. It's just kind of sticking things down, and really the only creative part was, the stamping in the background. So there is casting call. And then next up, I do have another entry for the casting call devotional. Okay, so this entry here is in Genesis 12:1. Says, "The Lord said to Abraham, go out from your land, your relatives, and your father's house to the land that I will show you." And so Janet talks about how sometimes God calls us to leave things, leave family, leave jobs, leave dreams, leave whatever it might be. Leave family, I mean that by leaving your extended family, not leaving your spouse. I don't believe that God ever calls you to leave your spouse unless it's like some really crazy circumstance. That's not a typical calling of God. I just want to clarify that. But so sometimes He calls us to leave things. And so Janet prompts us to kind of talk about some of the things that God has prompted us to leave. And so I used the little file folder that came with the kit, and then I use that as a template to cut out these other folders out of patterned paper, and then just layered them up. I did go ahead and add some little staples to the edges to create pockets out of these file folders. And then I went over to my typewriter and just typed out little journaling spots about the 3 different times that God has called us to leave something, whether it be a job, our home, our church we've had to leave in the past. And so I journaled about each one of those in those file folders. I used some mini paper clips from Felicity Jane, some more of those floral die cut pieces, a texture stamp, I'll link that down below, with some Distress Oxide ink. And then for these alphas, I still use the Stencil Alpha, but I stamped them on some patterned paper and then fussy cut them out. It didn't have to be perfect, but fussy cut those out and then stuck them down. And so it just gives them a different look and has them filled in. And then of course just using some Tim Holtz alphas, and that was it. So really just, these big bold file folder pieces really kind of take up the main part of the page here, and use some of those little stickers from the kit and things like that. So there is that entry for casting call. And then now we'll move on to the next section of the devotional. Okay, so this entry here is in Psalm 145, verse 18. Says, "The Lord is near all who call out to Him, all who call out to him with integrity. And so this is for the interlude in the middle. And we're talking about how sometimes we feel like we're stuck in the middle, in the intermission time, the waiting time. And that is kind of where I'm at. And we are kind of facing another transition and feeling stuck. And so this was a good opportunity to kind of cry out to God with a prayer. So I am working in the Illustrating Bible, so I have nice big margins in Psalms. And so I used this stencil here is actually the stencil from the Revival Camp kit, I believe, but I think that they sell this separately in the shop as well. So I'll link that down below. And so what I did was I just laid the stencil down. I'm trying to find it here. I have like this whole little goodies next to me here. Here it is. Okay, so I laid the stencil down and then colored the green portions at the bottom of the stencil, and then I slightly shifted the stencil over and then did the outlines, and that's how I got that little offset effect for the background. So really, really simple, just a few little triangles. This is a vellum pocket. This is from Felicity Jane. I think they had this as an add-on for one of the past kits. I had it from a Felicity Jane kit, so I will link it down below for you guys. It's basically like a half pocket, so there's no back to it. It just sticks directly to the page and creates a little pocket. And then I used the die cut piece from the kit and just layered on some different and enamel stickers and alphabet stickers. And then this is from the Wildflower kit. This is the stamp that I just stamped out and fussy cut out of some plain cardstock. I love seeing this get reused over and over and over. And so I love, you know, getting to use our supplies with a variety of different kits and things like that. And so don't forget to pull out past kits, especially these with the florals and things. They can be used over and over and over again. And then inside the pocket, I just die cut a tag. I will link the tag dies that I used down below. And then I typed out a journaled prayer on the back side, which is a little bit more private. And so I like that I can have it, you know, tucked into the pocket. It's not super obvious, and my journaling isn't out for the world to see. And then the bow clippy, of course, came with the kit. And then this alpha here is one from, that was in the Illustrated Faith shop as well. It is from, I think it's the Latina Crafter is the company. And so I will try to find it and link it down below for you guys. But it's these teeny tiny little filled in alphas. And so I use that, and then the mini typewriter alpha from Illustrated Faith. So, and then of course the stickers from the kit. This black and white washi I've had in my stash forever. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but again, very, very simple entry, and just gave me a chance to journal out really intimate prayer and have it kind of hidden behind some things. Okay, so this is for the epilogue portion of the devotional, and this is in Proverbs 19, verse 21. It says, many plans are in a person's heart, but the Lord's decree will prevail. So just reminding ourselves that God is the author of our story. He knows all. He knows what the future is going to be for our story, and that we can give up our anxiety about that because he already knows what it's going to be. And so I need that reminder constantly. So I just journaled a little prayer here. This typewriter was actually a card. I don't think I still have them over here, but this is a Project Life card. It was like a big 4x6 card, and this image was on there with this things to remember piece. So I just fussy cut out the typewriter. Of course, you could use the typewriters that are included in the die cut pieces, and then the coffee mug sticker. This washi here is either Felicity Jane. I think this is a Felicity Jane washi from last Christmas, and then I'd used a mixture of Felicity Jane alpha stickers, so I'll have all those linked down below for you. And just wanted a big, bold title reminding myself that God is the author of my story, and I have to just give up control. I don't have control. I need to quit pretending like I have control and just trust that He's got it. So, of course, there are many, many more prompts in here that I did not do in my Bible. So if I get time after I wrap up Heart Layers, I will definitely be coming back and revisiting these and getting them down into my Bible. But this is where I've gotten to this point. So I hope that that kind of inspires you for some entries, gives you some ideas for journaling your way through this, because I know there's going to be some heartfelt prayers and things like that. So creating those pockets and those little hidden places to stick journaling is really helpful. So I hope that that's inspiring for you guys. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out that description box for links to everything that I can find and link to will be linked down there for you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to click on that bell notification button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.